My name is Yarrow, and you're listening to the Daydreaming Wolves podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me again. We have arrived at episode number 53, which is quite magical, and I'm really excited. And the theme is being in full bloom, and I have some ideas for your Beltane celebrations as well. So Beltane is this coming Wednesday, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you're listening to this in the future, that's totally cool. You might still get some inspiration out of this episode because I'm sharing a bunch of beautiful ideas that you might want to try at any time in the year. I also want to say that it's not super important, to me at least, that you celebrate right on May 1st. I think this is a seasonal celebration that's part of the wheel of the year, and just see when you have time and energy and resources and just be with what's available to you. There should never be any pressure to to buy anything or to do something that we don't want to do or have energy for. I think it's beautiful when it's really playful. So I'll share a couple of ideas, but before I do, I have just a few announcements. The first one is that the next self and community care circle for the Magic of Embodiment program is on May 5th. This is Sunday in a week, and we'll just gather on Zoom again. You can be on video if you like. It's just a gentle check-in on your self-care practice if you want to share. I'm going to guide a meditation. We'll talk a little bit about Beltane and also about the Season of Radical Love program that I'm running. So that's also starting on May 1st. And I'm really excited because this year I've really dropped into daily practices and really benefited from that structure and commitment and devotion. I think sometimes it's good to be more playful and to just wake up and see what you feel like doing in the morning. But this year, I was just like, I'm all in. I need this. I need the structure. So I've been meditating and writing and drawing a card every morning. And I've also been working with the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, which I love. And I wanted to offer a framework or a container, some inspiration for you to find your own daily practices that feel nourishing right now, if that's something that you're interested in. So a Season of Radical Love is 33 daily writing prompts that you receive via email. And all that you have to do, well, you don't have to do anything, but if you want to take part, all you have to do is find a moment of stillness in the morning or in the evening and sit with a question and then maybe journal about it or draw a tarot card or do a dance, whatever feels right. But we're going to be exploring radical love in relation to ourselves, to the people we love, and to our community. So each section is 11 days long. There's a beautiful bunch of deep dive questions that you can work with. And I really hope that it's going to give you a little bit of a framework to develop daily practices and also think more about how you relate to love and what you need right now in your life and what you have to give. So yeah, anyone who's a patron can take part, so you can pledge $3 or more, totally up to you. You can also cancel this pledge anytime, but if you want to take part, then you're welcome. And it also gets you the invitation to the membership program, The Magic of Embodiment, with the monthly self-care circles. Okay, so talking some more about Beltane. So this is a cross-quarter festival, and it's traditionally all about beauty and sensuality. It's about being in full bloom and really kind of becoming ready for summer. Here in the UK, we have the hawthorn that's blossoming around, which is really beautiful to see. And it's also often celebrated as a festival all about fertility, as a mirror for nature and the harvest that is hopefully to come and the abundance that comes with that. So in the Northern Hemisphere, it's usually around May 1st, and then in the Southern Hemisphere, it'd be around November 1st. And I also always think that Beltane has, to me, like a sense of really abundant wildness and organic growth. So whereas capitalism feels, totally focused on abundance and growth at all costs and striving and hustle, and there's never a sense of kind of balance and being seasonal and cyclical, Beltane is a more beautiful and organic and sustainable kind of abundance to me, where we're just seeing what is growing all around us already. There's no need to buy anything or do anything. We're just kind of sitting with this richness that nature is giving us already. I also feel like there's an emphasis on pleasure, and I really want to celebrate pleasure of my own understanding. So for me, that means that it really doesn't have to be about this heteronormative union between the god and the goddess. And it also doesn't have to be about sexuality at all if that doesn't feel right. And so something I made as a practice just this morning before I started recording this was a Pinterest board that's called Pleasure of My Own Understanding. And in a way, I really want to move away from the screen. I think pleasure to me is very much about being in nature, having my naked feet on the ground, and having sensual experiences. But I'm also a very visual person, and sometimes, being on my phone is what's available in any given moment. So it kind of felt nice to think about what elements visually represent my understanding of pleasure at this point in time. And maybe that's something that you want to try too. So I want to make my Beltane celebrations about creating something beautiful around me and about giving thanks for the abundance that I'm receiving, and literally about pausing to smell the flowers. I'm going to take the morning off and do a couple of beautiful things, and some of them I'll share with you now. So my first idea is a tarot spread for Beltane. And if you know me and have been listening to my tarot ideas for a while, you know that I like to keep it pretty simple. What I'm suggesting is a 4-card spread, which is kind of already a little bit of a stretch for me. Usually I do 2 or 3 cards, and I really love just going really deep with those rather than drawing too many. But this, if you like the Celtic cross and you like it big, that's totally cool too. But here are my suggestions for 4 cards that you can draw. The first one could be for what does being in full bloom mean to me right now? The second one could be what does my body need to be in full bloom? The third one, what does my mind need to be in full bloom? And then the fourth one, what does my spirit need to be in full bloom? I really think this is a beautiful spread to sit with around Beltane, just to see what comes up and to be really open and to also think about what being in full bloom means to us right now. I think it's easy to get carried away with mainstream ideas about what abundance means, what it means to be successful or sexy or hot. And yeah, this is really an invitation to challenge that and to figure out what it means to you. I will put these questions for each card in the show notes as well. So if you haven't had a chance to write them down, that's totally cool. Just check the show notes, they'll be there. The next thing I want to recommend or invite you to explore is making a Beltane essence. And I'm going to read from an Instagram post that Dori Midnight made, who is inspiring me a lot around essences and who captured really beautiful, I think, in that post, what the magic of essences can be. So she says, 15 years ago, when I was a wee 20-year-old baby witch, I made my first love potion. It was full of damiana, honey, roses, cacao, any sprinkles, tits, and orgasms. For the last ingredient, I placed a bowl of water under my bed and basically made an energetic essence of deep pleasure with myself. Around that time, I had a dream about Annie Sprinkle. In my dream, her breast contained a magic potion that I was meant to gather like medicine. We had met through our friend Keith, and she loved my dirty tarot deck, so I reached out to her, shared my dream, and asked if I could come make an essence of her tits. A week later, I drove down to Santa Cruz, and we went out into the redwoods together and did a beautiful ceremony where she placed her breast in a huge glass bowl of water while hollering to the sky about how much she loved whores and queers and trans people and wished everyone could be free. She had recently gone through treatment for breast cancer, and we bonded about being cancer survivors. It was deeply healing for both of us. We named the essence Dr. Sprinkle's Breast Wishes. Dr. Sprinkle's Breast Wishes. I've used it for years in my healing practice. It's good medicine for healing shame and contractions around sexuality and embodiment. I love working with essences because they are accessible and affordable. You can make them yourself. And I think they bring healing through intimacy. They invite us into intimacy with ourselves, each other, and with our more than human kin. Making and using essences can be a radical and beautiful practice of intimacy and intuition. It is 100% a pleasure practice. Essences do not use the frames of Western or white supremacy, medical industrial complex. There's no pathology, empiricism, extraction or reduction, which makes them a radical ally for personal and community healing. That's so beautiful, and yeah, it really touched me. And I also want to recommend an episode for the podcast. Gosh, what is it called? Healing Justice. Yes, Dori Midnight has recorded an episode about making flower essences yourself for this podcast, which is so beautiful in itself. I mean, Dori's work is beautiful. This podcast is incredible. If you can support these beautiful people, then please do. I will link to that in the show notes. But anyway, so I will give you some suggestions about making a Beltane essence, but I will also encourage you to maybe read more of Dori's thoughts or listen to that other episode if you like. So my first invitation is to have a look around you and see what's blooming around you right now, and then also think about where you're at in your life and what you think you most need and what you have to give. And I think that's a really important part. We want to give things as well. So as you're approaching flowers or environments or gemstones around you, think about what you can offer them in return. Maybe it's a drawing that you made, or some of your hair, or some nails that you clipped, or I don't know, something that you made with your hands that's really like an expression of your gratitude for what you're taking after asking. And so what I'm going to do, I feel really drawn to work with the dandelion in my garden because they're thriving in an environment that's also my environment. So clearly they have good knowledge about what it means to be surviving and thriving where we are right now. And then I also want to work with roses. That's a plant that's been super present and so helpful in my life right now. And then I want to work with a few of the hawthorn blooms that are just coming up now in my garden as well. And I'm not totally sure yet what I will give as a present, but I think it will be something visual, maybe a painting or something similar. And maybe I'll also make some commitments in honor of those plans. And I'll shout out on Instagram when I know. Anyway, so yeah, you might have similar ideas. Maybe there's something totally different around you that you think you want to work with. I'm excited to hear, so do tag me if you like. And then you'll need a container with some water. You can use maybe purified is a silly word actually, but maybe you can use filtered tap water. That would be nice. And then you want to just let the petals or flowers or the stones float or be in the water for a few hours. Maybe on Beltane morning, maybe in the sunshine if that's possible and available, but just maybe find a time that feels good for you. And you want to make sure that the bowl is sheltered, and if you like, you can sit with it as well. Dori Midnight in this episode recommended to also bring a journal and just see what comes up as you sit with that essence, which I think is a really beautiful idea. And then when you feel it's ready, you can strain the water, you can return back to nature what you feel you don't need. And what you then have is your mother essence, and you can preserve that in a larger container by adding 50% of a preservative, and that could be brandy or apple cider vinegar, for example. And that mother essence will last a really long time, so you want to make sure that you label it properly and say when it's been made and what's in it. Because it can get confusing very quickly. And then you can fill a stock bottle, like maybe a third up with either brandy or apple cider vinegar, the rest with water, and then you want to add 3 drops from your mother essence. And that will be the bottle that you can carry around with you. You can have it on your altar, you can sleep with it under your pillow. Something I really love doing is thinking about making labels with my typewriter. So I will think about an intention that I have. I made an essence, for example, about the Chani Nicholas quote, "I'm done with everything but love," because I love that so much. And I've made potions with a label that says, "Pleasure is possible." I think for this Beltane I will make it liberation is possible, because that feels true and important to remember for me right now. And I also think that the dandelion has so much to teach us about resilience, and I feel that works beautifully together with hawthorn and roses. So yeah. Something I love about Essence really is that it invites us to lean into intimacy and magic and faith. And if you want to learn more about this, really excited to say that I'm recording a little series about essences with my friend Chanel, who's been on episode 32 or 31, I think. So she has a beautiful, beautiful collection of essences that she's offering, and she's just always up for sharing. Her Instagram is incredible, so if you want to learn more, I'll link to her in the show notes as well. Another idea I have around Beltane is to read the book Pleasure Activism by Adrienne Maree Brown. I really, really loved reading it at the moment, and I'm going to have to wriggle around. So sorry. Because I want to read a quote from you to you from this book. So it's Pleasure Activism by Adrienne Maree Brown, and she writes, so this is in a chapter more broadly about what love is and why it's so important that we celebrate it, and also question the ideas that we're being given about love. And I think that is a beautiful thing to do around Beltane. So she says, this kind of love is not sufficient, even if it is the greatest love of our lives. The kind of love that we will be forced to celebrate or escape on Valentine's Day is too small. We're all going to die if we keep loving this way, die from isolation, loneliness, depression, abandoning each other to oppression, from lack of touch, from forgetting we are precious. We are no longer loved as a secret or a presentation, as something we prioritize, hoard for the people we know. Prioritizing ourselves in love is political strategy, is survival. Yeah, that was really beautiful. And I think, I don't know, I really love this book in so many ways, and I think it's something that I definitely want to make time to read again over Beltane. And then I have a couple more ideas that you can also take and customize or change as needed, or you can reject them if you want to. I will also draw the curtains and dance naked on Beltane, and I'm going to see if I can make a little playlist for that. That feels good. I'm going to do some self-massage practices. As you know, that's a big part of the Magic of Embodiment program that I'm offering. So just sitting down with a nice infused oil, massaging my feet and my legs, my hands and my arms, anything that's kind of within easy reach. I wish it was my back, but it's not. And really giving my nervous system, my body, this beautiful experience of being touched in a really safe way, in a way that feels good because I'm doing it myself. And also working with herbal infused oils is so precious to me. I really love doing that. Another thing I would love to do, though I might not be able to because I don't have a bathtub, is taking a flower bath. So again, that could be simple, just like maybe sprinkling a few dried petals of roses or anything else that you have around into your bath. Maybe adding some almond milk or some oil that you enjoy. And another thing that you could do is sitting down for a meditation all about the heart. I think that's something really beautiful to do in May because it's such an opening time. Like everything around us is like bursting into bloom. And I would like to sit with the question of what that means and feels like in my body and in my heart. Yeah, I will leave it at that. I really hope that you got some inspiration out of this little mini-sode. If you have wishes for things that you want me to cover or talk about in the future, or people that you want me to interview, please let me know. I'm really always open to hearing. And if you have, questions, let me know. If there's things that you want me to run programs about, let me know. It's my job. I love it so much, and I'm so grateful that I get to do it. Also a reminder that I'm offering readings and rituals. They cost between $44 and $88 on a sliding scale. And if that's something that you want to treat yourself to around Beltane as a special check-in, I'm here. I would love to do that for you. You can find out more at daydreamingwolves.com. And I'm also going to be offering celebrancy services. So if you want to get married to yourself, or you want to have a friendship commitment ceremony, or you want to celebrate a renaming or a transition in your life, I would really love to support you with that as well. That's such a labor of love to me. Okay, thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful celebration.